Hello everyone, welcome to Innovative English Learning with Rashid Khan. If you want to watch this video in Urdu, you can watch it in Urdu from the playlist. Today we are going to talk about present perfect continuous tense in this video. So here we'll talk about the different uses of present perfect continuous tense and the different structures like positive, negative, interrogative, yes no questions, WH questions, etc. Apart from that, we'll also talk about the difference between since and for, because some students they normally get confused in the use of since and for. So here we'll discuss the difference between since and for as well. First, we use the present perfect continuous tense for an activity that has recently stopped or just stopped. Any action that remained continued for some time but that stopped recently. So we use present perfect continuous tense to describe such actions. For example, why are you out of breath? Have you been running? It means that the running just stopped. So have you been running? Paul is very tired. He has been working hard. So he's tired now because he has been working hard. He's doing some hard job. So he's been working hard. Why are you so tired? What have you been doing? So what have you been doing so far? It means that he was doing something that stopped recently. I have been talking to Amanda and she agrees with me. So it means I have been talking right till now and now she agrees with me. Where have you been? I have been looking for you. Now I found you and so far I was looking for you. So I've been looking for you. For such actions we use present perfect continuous tense. Next, we use the present perfect continuous in this way, especially with how long, for, and since the activity is still happening, as in this example, or has just stopped. Remember that the action starts in the past, remains in progress in the present, and will end in future. So in this scenario, the action starts in the past and it remains in progress in the present and will end in future. So for such actions, we use present perfect continuous tense. For example, it began raining 2 hours ago and it is still raining. So for example, the rain started 2 hours ago and it is still raining. It started in the past and still it is raining. So how long has it been raining? It has been raining for 2 hours. So here we are using present perfect continuous tense. How long have you been learning English? It means you are still learning English. So you started learning English in the past and you are still learning, and you may learn it in future as well, or the learning will end in future. Asad is watching TV. He's been watching TV all day. It means that he started watching TV from the morning and still he's watching TV, and that will end in the future. Where have you been? I have been looking for you for the last half an hour. So half an hour before I started looking for you, I'm still looking for you, and I may stop this looking for you in the future. You can use the present perfect continuous tense for repeated action. When something or when an action it is done repeatedly, we can also use present perfect continuous tense to describe such actions. For example, Sylvia is a very good tennis player. She has been playing since she was 8. It means that since she was 8, she has been repeatedly playing tennis. Every morning they meet in the same cafe. Why? Because they have been going there for 10 years. So it's been 10 years that they have been going to that cafe. Now, what's the difference between since and for? Remember, mostly students, they get confused in the use of since and for. So here is a very simple solution to it using for. If the duration of time changes with the passage of time, then for is used. Remember, the time that we mention in a sentence, if that time, that duration changes with the passage of time, we'll use for. For example, he has been playing cricket for 2 hours. Now the word or the words 2 hours, the duration 2 hours, it is changeable. Why? Because after one more hour we would say 3 hours. After one more hour we'd say 4 hours. So that is why this time is changeable, and therefore we have to use for. She has been studying in this university for 5 years. Again, 5 years, it is changeable. So if another year passes, we would say 6 years. If another year passes, we would say 7 years. So that is why this duration is changing with the passage of time, and therefore we have to use for. Using since, if the time mentioned in a sentence does not change with the passage of time, then since is used. So if the duration of time does not change with the passage of time, then we have to use since. For example, I have been running this channel since January 2022. So January 2022 does not change. Why? Because it is a specific time, and even if year pass or years pass, we will not change this time. Okay, so that is why we use since. Pakistan has been facing problems since its independence. So the word independence refers to a specific time and it does not change with the passage of time. Therefore, we have to use since. And you can say that changeable time we use for, and for unchangeable time we use since. Now the structure for affirmative sentences. First we have to put the subject. So if the subject is singular, he, she, it, or singular noun, it's followed by has been. And if the subject is plural, it's followed by have been. Then ing form or present participle, then the object and since and for or duration of time, etc. For example, he has been writing stories for years. She has been reading a novel since morning. Now morning is unchangeable. It does not change with the passage of time. So therefore we use since. It has been raining since midnight. Again, midnight is unchangeable. So we use since. I have been doing my homework for 2 hours. Now 2 hours, it is changeable time. That is why we use for. You have been studying here since 2020. Again, 2020 does not change. That is why we use since. We have been watching all the videos. It's without even since and for. So you can use this tense without even mentioning since and for. Negative. How to make negative sentences? A very simple thing is that introduce not after has and have and the sentence becomes negative. So subject followed by helping verb has and have, then not and then been, then ing form, and then rest of the sentence. For example, he has not been writing stories for years. She has not been reading a novel since morning. It has not been raining since midnight. I have not been doing my homework for 2 hours. You have not been studying here since 2020. For making yes-no questions, bring have and has to the start of the sentence, then the subject, plural with have and singular with has, been, then ing form, then rest of the sentence, and finally question mark. For example, have you been playing cricket since morning? Have we been watching TV for 2 hours? Or has he been attending this school since 2020? Or has she been writing homework since noon? So that is how we convert a sentence into yes-no questions, and we answer it with yes or no followed by subject and then have or has or haven't or hasn't. Next we have WH questions or information questions. So first we bring WH words, what, when, where, how, why, etc. Then has and have according to the subject. If the subject is plural, we put have, and if it is singular, we put has. Then been, and then ing form, and finally question mark. For example, what have you been playing since morning? Where have you been living for 10 years? Or where has he been living for 10 years? Where has he been writing since morning? Or what has he been writing since morning? So that is how we can convert the sentences into WH questions, and we answer it in full sentence. Again, we have WH words, which and what when there is a choice. So we bring the object right after the WH words, then has and have according to the subject, and then the subject, then been, and then rest of the sentence, finally question mark. For example, which game have you been playing since morning? Or what game have you been playing since morning? What have you been watching? Or which movie have you been watching for 2 hours? Or what movie have you been watching for 2 hours? Now you remember the difference between which and what, that which is used for specific things when we have limited choice, and what is used generally. Okay, so that's the only difference. Next we have negative interrogative sentences. Here we bring haven't or hasn't to the start of the sentence, then subject, then been, then ing form, then the rest of the sentence followed by question mark. For example, haven't you been playing cricket since morning? Or haven't we been watching TV for 2 hours? Or hasn't he been attending this school since 2010? Or hasn't she been writing homework since noon? Or hasn't it been raining since last night? So that is how we make these questions, and they are answered like yes no questions. Okay, you can also make these sentences by bringing has and have to the start of the sentence, then subject, then not. For example, have I not been playing cricket since morning, or has he not been watching TV for hours? So that is how we can convert these sentences into negative interrogative in this way as well. Okay. Now there is a simple activity. Read the situations and complete the sentences. For example, it's raining. The rain started 2 hours ago. It means that the rain started in the past and it is still raining. So we have to convert this situation into present perfect continuous tense. So it has been raining for 2 hours. Okay. We are waiting for the bus. We started waiting 20 minutes ago. So 20 minutes ago in the past the action started and still we are waiting. So we have to convert it into present perfect continuous tense. So we have been waiting for the bus for last 20 minutes. For last 20 minutes. Now why am I using for with 20 minutes? Because 20 minutes is a changeable time. After 5 more minutes I would say 25 minutes. So that is why we have to use present perfect continuous tense. Complete the rest of the scenarios so that you understand the use of this tense. Put the verb into the present continuous am, is, are plus ing, or present perfect continuous have, has been plus ing. Now here you have to look at the scenario and you have to decide that if it is present continuous tense or whether it is present perfect continuous tense. For example, Maria has been learning. So Maria learned English for 2 years. Now 2 years shows the duration of time. Therefore, we have to use present perfect continuous tense. Look at the rest of these scenarios and decide if it is present continuous tense or is it present perfect continuous or present continuous tense simple. Okay, so complete the rest of the tasks. Thank you for watching Innovative English Learning. For more such videos on English grammar, passive voice, direct and indirect, etc., keep watching Innovative English Learning and do share it with your friends. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.